So good evening to all, and first of all I would like to thank the organizers of this conference that they thought of that skill should find a place in the education summit. Many of you might have heard Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister day before yesterday on Pariksha Pe Charcha, and during that interaction he was just talking to few students. He said that if once he was asked that if he were not the Prime Minister, what other thing he would like to do, and he said that I would have loved to be the skill minister. That shows the importance of skill in the heart of our Honorable Prime Minister, and we know that he knows much more than anyone can even think of. And 2015 when he launched Skill India Mission, at that time the Honorable Prime Minister dreamt that India will become the skill capital of the world. And that is why over last few years a lot of work has happened. Just now you were talking about that how Ministry of Skill and Ministry of Education can come together. I think during the previous tenure of our Honorable Education Minister, it was all working very closely, and today also both ministries work very closely. And you can see those signs of those things into various initiatives that I will talk about. But before going anywhere, I just want to talk about the future. It looks like that the future is bleak, but I believe that future is full of hopes. If you read the World Economic Forum's latest report and various other studies, the world will add 100 crore new people in the workforce, and World Economic Forum's report says 2/3 of these new entrant into workforce will come from India and Sub-Saharan Africa. That means that India youth who will be entering in the workforce in next 5-10 years will not only have the claim on GDP of India, but every third or $4 of value created anywhere in the world will have an Indian brain and hand behind this. And it is so fortuitous that we are sitting together. We have already discussed about this. Mr. Abhay was talking about services export. Services export is the fastest growing segment for Indian economy. And if I want to just simplify what the opportunity here lies, sitting in India, you can work anywhere in the world. And just in previous panel, somebody was talking about that what is the future for somebody who is coming from commerce, somebody is coming from arts. Imagine that sitting in India, you can provide HR services to any company in the world. You can provide creative services to the creative economy which is emerging anywhere in the world. You can provide accounting, finance services to all over the world. This is the emerging opportunity, and that's why I say that educational institutions and the students in the educational institutions should look towards the entire global workforce as an opportunity, and should have that mindset that we are preparing students for global workforce. Even for institutions, just now Mr. Abhay was talking about that education itself can be in today's digital world, can be a digitally delivered service. There is an opportunity for institutions to actually go beyond their campuses, and campus-light models can be developed only if you have developed excellence in something. Keeping these few pillars of emerging future, NSDC is working on certain initiatives which I'll come about. If you see, the world's economy will be structured around 3 broad skills. Somebody was talking here about care economy. the demographic of the world is that more and more muscle jobs and cognitive jobs will be taken over by machines, but nobody can take hard jobs. And care economy, whether it's a geriatric care or neonatal care or care of a patient or health care, or even in the emerging world where the social relationships are getting disturbed and the family etc. are all being tested in new era, everybody will need some sort of care, and that's a big opportunity that the emerging care economy. No machine can replace care, no machine can provide care, and that's where a big opportunity emerges. The second pillar of this emerging world economic order is digital economy. Automation at the workplace is spreading very fast, and the workplace and workforce, all the three dimensions are getting dramatically changed. When it comes to workplace, today earlier the workplace was constrained by definition of space, time and structure. The work was performed at a certain place during certain time, and the worker performing that work was part of some hierarchical structure. In today's world, you can remotely participate in a hybrid team. One person is sitting in one part of the world, other person is this. So the whole workplace definition has gone for a toss. Even the workforce of tomorrow, the future of work belongs to the workforce, where people from all over the world will be not participating as one team, and sometimes they are also differentiated in time. Some people will do in one time zone and the work continues in the second time zone. And now you bring in the generative AI, where you will have the AI agents, and these AI agents will also be working with you. Now imagine that this is a emerging workforce where human beings from various parts of the world with physical machines and with cognitive machines will be working together. This is the emerging workplace. And the worker is not only the human being, but also the robots and the generative AI, and everybody is becoming a worker. So the definition of the worker itself is changing. So this is the emerging contour of a digital economy, which is we all hear every day: tariff wars, geopolitical tensions all over the world. But one thing which is integrating the world is digital. Digitally, the world may be fragmenting, the economy may be fragmenting big time, but the digital integration is happening. So digital is becoming a second very important pillar. And the climate change, despite whatever is happening in other part of the world, there is a huge realization among people that we cannot ignore this. So green, digital and care are becoming an extremely important consideration. Across all these three dimensions, any Indian can become a part of a global workforce through three channels. One is, some jobs will require to be delivered at the site itself. So some people will migrate, and that they will be part of the care economy where they provide care. The second opportunity is what Mr. Abhay was talking about. India is the fastest growing place for global innovation. Gone are the days when we were a call center or back office of the world. Now India is home to 45% of all global capability centers in the world. Now that means that more and more work will get transferred to India. So while within the country, you can actually participate in the global workforce. And the third is because of serious disruption happening to supply chains all over the world. There was one country which was a factory of the world. Now the distributed manufacturing will happen all over the world because of strategic reasons, and that means the manufacturing is coming back big time. And also we are now seeing newer barriers coming in terms of climate regulation, etc., whatever Europeans are imposing. Indian manufacturing worker will also have to be globally conscious and have to become the part of the global chain. So with these three emerging dimensions, NSDC is working with higher education institutions in multiple ways. What we believe that as NSDC, our primary responsibility is with tier 2, tier 3 city colleges. Colleges and universities where students are studying in a tier 2, tier 3 colleges in cities, there NSDC is working with these institutions in multiple ways. One of the ways that we are working, how do we enhance the employability of a student in a tier 2, tier 3 city college, is by bringing global certifications. So today we are working with the best in the world, whether it's Apple, Nvidia, IBM, Microsoft, Amazon. We are setting up future skill labs into the higher education institution and ensuring that these candidates get those certifications within their college. That means now, in addition to the college degree that you are acquiring, you also have access to global certifications, and believe me that these global certifications open doors for lot of job opportunities across the world. The second intervention that we are doing is that many of these students, because of some reason, they could not get access to the colleges that they were aspiring for, the institution of national importance and some even leading global universities. So we are today working with institutes of national importance and some foreign universities to bring their minor programs and their certification programs into tier 2, tier 3 colleges. That means that the board of studies of these universities and colleges can work with NSDC and embed those programs into their own curriculum. Now that means that the student not only has the opportunity to graduate with the degree from the university and college where they have taken admission, but they also have the opportunity to graduate with a minor for coming from the institute of a national importance or even from a foreign university. We are also bringing, because we recognize that we can actually participate in the global workforce, we are bringing some of the professional certifications like ACCA, CPA, CFA, etc. into the education ecosystem, and the board of studies can work with NSDC to embed into their commerce programs. So BCom education can also be disrupted big time. And we also believe that emerging world will place more premium on creative skills than the technical skills. And that means humanities and social sciences, which were hitherto until now were considered as the laggards, will actually come in front and will start taking the lead, because technology, all that we hear about AI is, whether it's ethical, whether it is being socially conscious or not, all this requires that technology will be led by people coming from social sciences and humanities and arts background. And keeping this in view, we are bringing the best of the world's creative skills into our ecosystem. And that's another opportunity, that how do we embed creative skills into the curriculum of your education. And we also believe that many of the tier 2, tier 3 colleges have huge opportunity to excel into some one, two or three areas. Because if you excel in certain areas, you can actually take that education out of your campus and provide it to the other education institutions. My belief is that educational institutions are somehow by nature are differentiated. Every educational institution want to say that I am very different from the college next door to me. And Abhijit was talking about scale. The national credit framework gives us an opportunity to bring this standardization element through a skill credit framework. So up to 50% of the credit from a regular university, and in case of skill university, 60 to 70% of the credit can be skill based. Now with NSDC, you can actually bring it across the colleges and universities, and that gives you scale. And that means that whatever you are good at, you just like in IITs and IIMs, we are running a lot of courses with IITs, IIMs. Many of the institutions have the opportunity to take them to other institutions, and you don't have to take a campus load. And also, as I told you, the World Economic Forum report said that 2/3 of the global incremental workforce will come from India and Sub-Saharan Africa. That means Africa as a continent has 1 billion people, and their median age is good 5 years lower than India. Now, education is whatever we have gained over last 4-5 years can actually be converted into our opportunity for export from India in term, and NSDC today works with around 20 countries across the globe. This becomes an opportunity to take your campus out and become part of the global value chain. The one last thing that I would like to say is that there are 26 crore students in our school education and 4.5 crore students in higher education. But our working age population is 100 crore. Every person who is in the workplace today needs reskilling and upskilling. Technology is changing dramatically. It will become impossible for companies to be competitive unless they keep on reskilling, upskilling their workforce. UGC guidelines allow skill universities to run their programs in factory campuses within 75-kilometer radius. We now also have apprenticeship embedded degree programs. That means a large proportion of workforce skilling, reskilling, upskilling, the educational institution can become part of that. You can leverage what you have is faculty and your knowledge base that you can leverage. And believe me, the world's best educations economically thrive for their exact programs. Whether it's an IIM or it's an ISB or it's a Harvard Business School, they all survive on their bread and butter comes from 5 days, 7 days, 15 days, 30-day executive education program. That's another opportunity where I believe that NSDC would like to work with educational institutions, that how do you leverage, you don't have to make an incremental investment. And that, just now we were talking about how do we motivate the faculty of the educational institutions to pick up skills as one of the areas. Now, if you enlarge this scope and create incentives, today if you go to IIM or many top institutions, they earn a lot of money through consulting, and the faculties take share out of that. Now, imagine that if we can create an ecosystem of workforce reskilling, upskilling based on the educational institution in that area. Now, that becomes an incentive for faculty to actually stretch themselves, and we can bring the workplace into academic institution. I think I can go on talking and talking, but this is a valedictory session. I don't want to hold you anymore, but we are in the exciting times. Education is the best place to be in. My belief is that when highly regulated industries start getting deregulated, the massive opportunity emerges there. Most of the reforms will happen in the education sector in next 10 years. And all of you are fortunate that you are in this industry, and this is a message hope with which I want to stop my conversation. Thank you so much.